Welcome to Searching for Truth and Treasure in Alabama with Alabama historian, videographer, and speaker Jim Phillips. Jim has spent the last 40 years exploring and finding amazing artifacts on lesser-known sites in the state. He's here with us to discuss the how and where you can legally explore old, privately owned sites and find those amazing treasures from the state's past. Plus, he's going to tell you a story or two about hard-to-believe events he's encountered as he's toured the state. So let's get into it. Here's Jim Phillips.
All right, everybody, welcome into another episode. Jim, how you doing today, man?
The hard-to-believe event is that I made it here today.
You look a little tired.
I just
You've been
spoke
busy.
at the senior center right around the corner from you. And
Yeah.
4 hours sleep, no air in my Jeep. I drove up to Baptist Church above Birmingham yesterday, did a talk, no air in my Jeep. Drove to Gadsden Library, no air in my Jeep. 4 hours sleep last night, 4 hours the night before. Amazingly, I'm still going.
And by the way, it's 97 to 100 degrees.
Well, it's okay in the highway. I've got the windows down, a lot of air noise. I got the Hyundai, but the alternator's bad, and the air works in it. It's got to go up to Blount County where I can afford to get that fixed.
Blount County's got
Now,
good,
let me tell you about this
mechanics.
talk I just did about a half a mile from you. I had talked about seeing the UFO, the big, long, black, thin thing through the window of Starbucks. If you people just now clicking in on Searching for Truth and Treasure, go to the one that says UFO. And I go in there, and I don't like some of those earlier podcasts. Well, maybe. Well, anyways.
You were learning.
Let me tell you something. Well, anyway, they're all over it, and I stutter and stammer in some, but I did see the UFO through the window, came down out of the clouds and hovered over Birmingham. I made fun of the fact nobody's watching it. They got their iPhones, and how did nobody else see it? And then I mentioned how the lady up in North Alabama's family got messed up mentally that witnessed this long, thin black thing hovering over a lake, and how it went straight up in the sky. The forest ranger or something saw it, got messed up. I bumped into Mike. I mentioned him.
Yeah, you did.
He's a member of one of the greatest pioneer families in Alabama. He's talking to me. I didn't know who he was because we've only talked on the phone. And I said, well, doggone, Mike? And, of course, I don't mention his last name.
Yeah.
I try to keep out of that so people don't bug people. But I said, we finally meet. And I says, wait a minute. I called. I said, it was your brother that saw the UFO? And then I said, brother-in-law. It was your brother-in-law, Jim. I said, you did this. He described it as long and black. He said cigar-shaped, gigantic, long, thin cigar hovering over the field. Right here in your community.
Wow.
Within 10 miles of here.
Huh.
It caused him a lot of stress. Now, he's died from cancer, I just found out. So this was ironic that I stumbled in one of my stories where somebody else saw what I saw. Probably not the same date.
Right.
We're describing the same thing. Okay, so that was kind of interesting. I wanted to do a tease here. You asked me once, what would it take for me to tell about what went on in our house? And that's what started these amazing things with me off. We did that back in October, Halloween, about 8-9 years ago?
Yeah, it's been several years
On
ago.
the radio station, maybe longer than that, and the radio station lost almost all the power. You said 8 people listened to it.
Right.
And you said, what's it going to take money for me to tell that story? And I said, for $5,000, you can bring your little electronic devices in. And I said, and you come and say, are you mad at us? Talk to the spirit. I know who visited our house. I surmise what it was when the walls started shaking, things that were scared. And my little daughter, who's like 7 then, starts finding teddy bears that are locked up under her arm when she wakes up in the morning. That only happened once. I couldn't get to the teddy bear. She could. And this started it off. And I think I mentioned in one, I was doing a talk at the library, the lady pulled me aside and says, well, when your walls shake, start going boom, boom. There was a message there. We said it together. I said, yeah, it's pay attention to me. Mm-hmm. Let me tell you what I did in the library. About a year ago last year, I went up and spoke at the library, and I did a talk on treasures about May. And they wanted to book me for a Halloween talk, Lost Ghost Tales of Antebellum, Alabama. And I says, okay, I'll be back talking about ghost tales. I'm going to tell a personal account. I don't call it ghost. I call it supernatural. Let me preview a little for you. You can come back and hear the rest of it in October. So I baited them. But everything I said was true. Something just happened in our house last week. I'm going to go into this after I tell what happened at the library. So we talked treasures, and I said, all right, we just moved into our house in 2005. We're there for a few weeks. I'm sitting in the den, the wife and daughter, who's about to enter first grade, are in the bedroom through the wall. Boom, boom. The wall's shaking. Things on the mantel are vibrating. What are they hitting the wall with? They're going to bust off. I run in the bedroom, not violently, because I'm the angry angel. Is that what it is? It sounds like he's lost his mind. He's in danger. No, I'm not. So I throw the door. What are you hitting? And they're laying on the bed. She said, what are you hitting the wall with? We're both saying, you're going to damage it. That stopped.
Yeah.
It was about 4 or 5. Boom, boom. So that was that. Before that, my daughter came running down. She didn't want to go to her room. And she went, that's my mother's Yankee accent, rum. Have you noticed that? I'm listening to iPods, it's rum for room.
Every now, yeah.
Well, that's Massachusetts in her.
That's it.
I'm honoring her here. She said hoss for horse. I don't do that. But rum is room for my Massachusetts mother. My daughter, the first thing that happened in our house in 2005 was she was scared, didn't want to go to her room. And she told me, I begged her for 10 minutes, what's wrong, what's wrong? She told me about this teddy bear, and she told me it was a teddy bear that was up on a shelf. You couldn't get to it. And she woke up and it was under her arms. And I says, well, don't you know it was on your bed? No, it was in the closet. I couldn't get to it. We couldn't get to it. She woke up, it was under her arm. So I started thinking she's being watched over. Then the wall shook. Here's number 3. And we're going to leave you hanging for the rest of it. All this has really happened. I guess it's days later. Boom, from the attic. The attic is not where you can walk up in the attic and there's a den up there. It's a pull-down ladder. We have a basement, we have the ground level, then you have steps that go upstairs to another bathroom and 2 bedrooms. Up there, you pull down a ladder that's on wire hinges, whoom, to go up and service in the attic where there's insulation and air conditioner.
Right.
What we got coming from that attic is like a giant water buffalo is on a trampoline and falling off. I'm not joking. You would not believe the energy. If something's going to break,
Have you seen a lot of water buffaloes?
well, I have a vivid imagination. It's boom, boom, and the vibrations are going through the house. And Deborah's, where's that coming from? And I look up the steps. It's coming from up in the attic. I says, get me a flashlight. Now, she says, you're not going to go up there, are you? I says, I want to see what it is. And I use these kinds of words, which still amaze me to this day. I'm going to see what it is. It's either going to cause me intense fear for the rest of my life, or it's going to bring great joy into my life for the rest of my life. Whatever it is, I want to see it. So I've got this electrical lantern, and I go, and it stops. It's just several boom, boom, and you got to feel this. I mean, it's going through the walls of the house. You can tell it's coming from up in that attic where the insulation and an air conditioning unit is. So I go up and I pull, and I'm talking to the people at the library. You got to come back in. Well, I don't tell them you got to come back. I'm just telling this. I says, I pull down the ladder, and it goes, and you do sound effects.
Oh, yeah.
Everything I'm saying is true. On the springs, and it stretches out like an accordion. It folds out, and it goes boom, and it hits the floor. Slowly, I step up the rungs of the ladder. Slowly, I go up, and I take my left arm, and I move the trap door over. And I take my lantern, electric lantern, I reach up and I fell up there because there's a light switch that will turn the light bulb on, but probably it's broken. Mm-hmm. Now the pounding has stopped, but I'm going to stick my head up into that darkness and illuminate it and see what's causing this house to shake. My left finger finds the light switch. I flip the light bulb on, it works. And slowly I raise my head up into the attic and I look up and guess what I saw? And I said, you'll have to come back in October to find out. And they start screaming and laughing, and I meant that.
Do we have to come back in October?
Yeah. If I'm alive in October. Okay. Now, but let me tell you what happened last week. Oh, the good stuff happened after
so,
that.
see, look, you got so much to look forward to. We're going to do some more Halloween shows. You're going to find out what Jim found in the attic.
I won't be alive in October, so you just have to go through life wondering about it. Probably. And I'm laughing about this. My wife twice a week is saying, what kind of funeral do you want? I'm tired of that. And I mean it. Take me out in the woods. They won't allow it and dump me in the woods. I don't rot under the ground. Hey, when they cremate you, don't you think that your ashes are even dumped out back?
Right.
Or they put some black sand in there. Or at best, your ashes are mixed up with Tutti Frutti's ashes. in the same dang urn. I mean, don't you figure that?
There's no way to ever know.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know. I mean, really, think about it. So, guess how many people came back in October? Find out. Out of about 28 people there.
I'm going to say 35.
One. After seeing their mouths drop open, you said, well, they're all going to be back here. They're going to bring half the town, and one showed up. People ain't curious. But everything I said was true. Now, I exaggerated. Remember, I say pause for effect?
Yep.
But everything that happened, happened. And the good stuff happened. I told them in October the good stuff that happened. And I knew spiritually what was behind this. But if you want to bring your electronic devices into my house after we clean it up, and I tell you the front door's rotted, it's a house of horrors. The back deck is rotted. It's going to scare you, but we need that $5,000 to fix the house.
There you go.
Okay, all right.
If you wait a little longer, it may drop to $3,000.
I'm not joking about that five. If you want to bring electronic devices in and play that game, but I know it's behind this, and it's a spirit thing. But you're not going to get performance out of that, I know. But let me tell you what happened a couple of weeks ago. I going into the basement, and I talked about Sister Martha wanting to bring her clothes and teddy bears for the poor kids and the orphans down in central Alabama, Utah, Alabama.
Yes.
Her name's Martha, not Martha. I called her and said I couldn't make it when I went down to do 2 talks. I was short on time. I was going to make a special trip. Well, I go into the basement the other night, and my office area is downstairs, cluttered as it is, and opened the door in the basement. There's all this stuff from Coleman. Deborah lost her mother to COVID and her father. They were divorced. Got stuff scattered everywhere down there. And there's Christmas decorations in boxes. And I walk over with my mug of coffee, and I'm thinking, I need to get some of these Christmas decorations, particularly some religious stuff here, and bring that down so Sister can have it for Christmas for those poor kids and their families. Suddenly, a Christmas song starts playing, and it's religious. Now, Deborah remembers what it is. I said, what was it? Was it Silent Night or what? You know, it was a very religious song, but I'm hearing a Christmas song playing. Where's that coming from? It just starts up out of nowhere. While I'm thinking, I've got to get
You hadn't touched anything?
I hadn't touched nothing. I'm just standing there still, looking in, going through them, staring at boxes with Christmas bulbs and things with the Jesus on it, whatever, you know, this star, Bethlehem star and all this. And I'm thinking, look at all this stuff. I've got to get some of this together for the poor people down around Utah so Sister can get it in their hands for Christmas. And the Christmas song starts playing. I'm looking around, I can't find it. I turn around, there's this bookshelf against the wall. Now, I've got old rocks because, you know, I get out and I brought rocks in. Is there any gold in this or whatever? And there's rocks and some tools there. And there's a box. And it's coming from this box. And I pick it up. It's a manger scene. It's playing a Christmas song, a spiritual one. And it just started playing by itself.
Wow.
And that manger scene has been there for what, 4 years?
4 years, yeah.
So I'm shaking it. How does it turn off? It's factory sealed. It's held in a box with like these tie clasps, these hard plastic. You can't undo.
You have to cut out.
Yeah, you got to cut them with scissors. Right. So I go upstairs and I tell Deborah, you're not going to believe this. I didn't tell her I was thinking about Christmas decorations for the poor when it just started playing out of nowhere. Yeah. It's been in that spot for, 4 years? I says, what is this? And Deborah says, it's the, looks like crystal manger scene I bought for Mother that never got to see it.
Oh, wow.
Because she went into a coma with COVID and passed away. Isn't that something? I said, how do you turn it off? Why did it start playing by itself after being down on that shelf for 3 years since COVID?
Yeah.
4 years.
4 years almost.
She's been sitting there for 4 years. And it just started playing by itself. When I'm thinking about getting Christmas decorations to the orphans and all, how do you turn it off? We can't figure it out. So I go upstairs, I get some scissors, and I cut those 3 hard plastic ties, and I take it out. I turn it over. It's still playing that Christmas song, beautiful Christmas melody. And I look, and there's a switch on the bottom, a slide switch. It's in the middle position. I push it to the left, and the music stops. But when the music stops, the faces of the baby Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and the wise men start pulsating light. Pulsating light. Well, that's what this is meant to do.
Yeah,
I think
you flipped the switch on probably. At that point.
Okay. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No. You don't realize what's happening here. So the music stopped, but the pulsating got to have power for that, don't you?
Oh, well, yeah, for sure.
So I said, well, let me take.
Because even if it was solar powered, it's been in your basement.
It's not solar powered. It's been in my basement in the dark.
Yeah.
All right.
No way it could get.
So I turn it over. Oh, here's the battery compartment. I'll take the batteries out. And what mysteriously started playing music, and yes, mysteriously their faces are pulsating light. Take the batteries out, Jim. I take the battery compartment, slide it open. Ain't no batteries.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, and so I carried it down to Deborah. I says, Archie, you want to see your miracle? Look, now it's pulsating. Their faces are pulsating light in their faces. Jesus, Mary, Joseph, and the wise men. I turn around. No batteries. There's no other battery compartment. You don't refute a miracle when you see one. She says, I guess Mother's talking to me. I says, yeah. Join the club.
And Mother wants you to give those decorations.
Well,
to somewhere where they can be seen.
Now, Deborah doesn't bring this up anymore. She goes silent. Just like I said, I want you to go up the highway and see whatever, grab my Jeep, where that is. And she said,
I can't blame her on that one.
We just go, but that stuff makes her nervous. Well, this is beautiful, but she doesn't discuss this. And I carried a flashlight in the other night. And I said, see if you can turn this flashlight on. And she took it and she says, it won't come on. I said, of course not. Ain't no batteries. But the manger scene works without batteries. Look at the box. Requires 3 AAA batteries to operate.
Yeah.
Ain't no batteries.
Wow.
So, yeah. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Now, the irony of that, and I'm not in church every day. And
you're usually digging around the outside.
Yeah, I mean, I'm praying every Sunday, Lord, please let me dig up some gold. I'm praying out there. Please help me. I'm so poor. People are going to start sending old Jim Phillips clothes and food here pretty soon. I keep going on with the poor thing. Ain't quite that bad, but it's kind of close to it. I actually go up 280, and Deborah's mother passed away in the hospital. What's it called? Grandview?
Grandview. Mm-hmm.
Going up 280, there's a red light before you cross over the Cahaba River.
Yep.
And right there on the left's Grandview. When I catch that red light, it was horrible. She was in a coma for 2 months. And I say things to her. I say, I'm so sorry for what happened to you. And I actually, my little prayer to her that day, I'm not making this up, was, I'm hiking. I'm talking to her. She's not talking back. But I love hiking up that river. And I said, I'm going up there. That's where the mysterious 6'3" guy was staring at me with a cell phone. And I said, quote, got the hell out of there. Remember that? He didn't follow me.
Yep.
I said, I'm going to join you. I'm going to pass away on the banks of the Cahaba River. I'm going to walk this winter so far up that river, I'm either going to croak or get some great exercise. And I'm laughing, saying that at the red light, talking to Deborah's mother, right?
Yeah.
The light changes. But I do that when I catch that red light. I look up at the hospital, and I think of her all the time, and I talk. So I don't know if that honed her in or what it is, but we had that. And I'm just telling you, you explain why a battery-driven manger scene that plays music and pulsates light in the faces of the entities, Jesus, Mary, Joseph, you explain to me how their faces glow and music plays, and it says requires 3 AAA batteries and ain't no batteries in it. And you explain to me why it started playing this beautiful religious Christmas song when I'm sitting there thinking about what decorations can I get to those kids that will bring some joy into their heart. And you're not listening to a saint sitting here talking to you right now. I promise you that. You're not. So it's like, why me?
Yeah.
But bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on. I'm not going to sit here like I know some devout. Well, there's an explanation. Say you carried okay. Well, yeah, maybe that UFO that zapped put to the electro. Right. I told Deborah that it's either the miracle or I'm carrying.
You've got an electrical aura around you.
When I got zapped, my body vibrated, my bones. When that thing grabbed my Jeep for 30 seconds, and I keep calling it a tone. A tone didn't start playing. It was musical notes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't close encounter, but it was musical, like dun, 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 over and over. And I memorized it. Look on the one that says UFO, folks. whatever number that
Yeah,
is. Go
that was
back and
early,
look at it. This actually happened. The energy hit my Jeep. It got me and my bones in my Jeep. The radio's off. It was thunderous vibrating through my Jeep for about 30 seconds, then just stopped. And a voice spoke in a language I've never heard before. They're actually doing some stuff at what's it called? Ranch?
Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah, they're doing stuff out there. Some guys out there, these guys deal electromagnetic energy. They're running all these electromagnetic tests. And they're talking now about radio energy being maybe transmitted to people. That they're wondering if people can be singled out where they get electromagnetic energy pulsed towards them.
Well, yeah, I think there could because, some people, my dad was one of these. He could not wear certain watches.
My father couldn't do it either.
You could put it on his hand, it'd be dead within 5 minutes.
But here's you look at the manger scene, I'm thinking about the little orphans down there and the poor people getting some nice Christmas decorations. And then the Christmas song starts playing. Out of a manger scene that's set on that shelf for 5 years, from going back to 20, 4 years.
That's crazy.
And it's never played, and now it's playing without batteries in it. And so there you go. Now, we'll come back if I'm alive in October, and I'll tell you what else went on in the house. But if somebody wants to come in and say, are you mad at us? And that's the term I use. They start with their electromagnet, run around with their tattoos and the rings in their nose and ears.
And Jim, just because they got tattoos doesn't mean anything bad.
No, I'm in Gadsden yesterday, and I can't find the library. I took the wrong route in. And I pull up, and I don't know if it's a shelter or what, but these two old scruffy-looking guys with missing half their teeth or they're tattooed all over. With cigarette smoke blowing it, and I pulled up. But I honor these guys. I mean, they're my brothers, and I'm no better than them. And I pull up, I say, gentlemen, I says, can you tell me where the library is? Yes, it's right down here, and they were so kind. And I pulled off, it says, I went in and I told them, I said, two of the biggest tattooed guys in Gadsden, chain smoking cigarettes were my saints. So you got to love them. You got to love them. So I just got this theory that some people that are so overly tattooed, they want attention.
Yeah.
And I think some psychologists would say that. A lot of that's for attention. Look how cool I am. Oh, I want to put a little treasure in on it, okay? I said the other day, you asked, is a troy ounce heavier than a standard ounce or vice versa? And I said, I don't want to think about it. Because I got the troy ounce, if you're weighing gold jewelry and you got a scale, mine you can put on troy ounce or ounce. That's where I screwed up once. I had it on ounce. Troy ounce is 10% more in weight than a standard ounce. And then we talked about the $2 notes, and they're all just $2. But now when you get to 1963, that red seal, they'll say that's worth about $15 in 1963. And just like I said, go back to 1917 on these large $2 notes, and you start getting into some money back there. 1917. Now, I looked on eBay, and there are some, they had imperfections where they stamped them. They put a weird flaw in it. So something's out of alignment. There are rich people that collect those.
Yeah.
And it's just, this is a weirdo $2 bill. And they're asking $11,000.
Wow.
It's just whatever you want to pay.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I just left the senior center, and the lady down there showed me a certified 1943 silver penny.
Oh, really?
Remember, they steal, folks. They're steal.
Yeah.
I said, they're just steal. Well, this was a freak one that came out silver. So I called my doctor friend, the real expert, and said, There's never.
Is that how he said
it's a fake one. Somebody's maybe rubbed some silver on a steel penny. It's not silver.
There's no such thing.
And the certification looked trashy, like somebody typed it on a type machine. So she's running around and said, supposed to be worth $9,000.
Oh, wow.
It's steel.
You should tell her she better sell it.
Well, we called the doctor. I said, listen to him.
Yeah.
And he's saying, it's just steel.
Yeah.
And he's saying the same thing, the $2 notes, and you can Google that. What are a recent 1976 $2 notes worth? They say mint condition, $2.
Now, wouldn't a magnet stick to the steel?
Yeah, that's your test. You put a magnet to something, and that's something I've got down here. You got to be careful. I've got right now a beautiful herringbone, big gold necklace. It's got on it in little print, 18K, 18 karat, but it's sprayed. And the paint of gold in it's not worth $2. So it's not a gold necklace. Then you put a magnet to that, it's going to pick it right up.
I gotcha.
But that's what you do. If something's supposed to be gold or silver, and there's other metals beside gold and silver that aren't magnetic.
Right.
You got to be careful. But if the magnet picks it up, you know it ain't
Right.
silver or gold.
Right.
So if they're selling that as silver or gold and you put a magnet to it, I made a fool out of myself over here at the coin shop about a year ago. I came in, I had something that I thought was gold, and I don't know why I went in there with that. Because I'm supposed to test my stuff. And I said, see what you could give me for this. And the first thing he did was put a magnet to it, sucked it right up. And I was so embarrassed because I'm supposed to.
So you're saying we should all take a big magnet, just keep it in our pocket all the time, just in case?
I carry them in my car all the time.
I mean, it's a good idea. Well, you should, because you do run into this all the time.
Well, you need to do stuff like that. You've got to be careful with this. But when I'm appraising coins.
So you need a bottle of water, a gun, and a magnet.
But I never thought I'd bump into somebody that showed me a 1943 pin. He says, and she said, I know they're supposed to be steel, but this is a very, very rare one that is silver.
Yeah.
I said, I've never heard of it.
Right.
And Carl got on the phone and he says, no, somebody may have coated it with some silver powder or something, or somehow bonded silver on it like a silver
Right.
coating. But he says, it's not going to be silver. They just never made one. They've counterfeited some.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
claimed that they were silver, and that's a counterfeit. Okay, we're going to wrap that up. We've been going too long on some of these things, and I think we got into some stuff. It's not a tease about the house. What's happened has happened. And if I'm alive coming in October, I'll tell you the rest of the stuff that happened in that. But my major thing is staying in the spot where it's set while it ran by.
So you're not going to take it down to the...
I'm not taking it.
You're gonna keep it.
I'm not. I didn't want to put it on my website or nothing.
Yeah.
It's staying right where it belongs. Okay.
I don't blame you. All right, guys. Well, look, check out JimPhillipsAlabama.com. You can follow all the podcasts there. You can follow him on YouTube. You can invite him to come speak to your group. He does that for, tens of 20s of dollars.
You're going to California. And you
I'm going to California.
$200 to get me to
Amen.
California. That won't get me to the Mississippi state line.
No.
Oh, something else you said once. So Jim can go explore your property in Alabama or in the Southeast. I don't travel the Southeast.
So just Alabama.
And boy, it better be close to Alabama.
But for $5,000.
By the way, the guy that called about the pints of silver dollars
Yeah.
and tornado taken, I have not heard back from him.
Okay.
He's supposed to call me, so I'm not going to pressure that. All
right.
We're out of
All
here.
right, guys. We'll catch y'all on the next one. Thanks for listening.
Gold, 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 they just gotta have that gold, gold, they'll do.
Thanks for listening to another episode. If you have questions for Jim Phillips or would like more information on his speaking availability, visit his website at jimphillipsalabama.com.